welcome back to Total Spotfest. I am Jamie. That is JJ. And with us today is an awesome guest, arguably with the biggest penis in all of professional wrestling, Big Dick Nick Chinn.
Big Dick Nick. Big Dick. I don't even think it's arguably. I don't think so. I mean,
just ask my wife.
I mean, she confirmed it at the last Journey Pro show. She goes, "It's true."
Yes,
it's true.
I'm not gonna lie, but you know, the she knows thing was one of my proudest moments I think I've ever had being in an audience at a wrestling event. So no, Nick Chinn, the pink shoed referee, is with us here. Thank you, Nick, for giving us some of your time. We do appreciate it. How are you doing today, my man?
I am alive and well. It has been a pretty couple rough days for the world of pro wrestling, though.
Yeah.
I think I want to kind of bring that up real quick and just, send my condolences to Scott Hall and his family and friends for what's transpired in the last 24 hours. And it's just, maybe a little bit of moment of silence for him before we get this show on the road. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now that that's out of the way, we can have some, have a good old nice conversation.
Let's have some fun. Let's honor the memory of the bad guy because I mean, I wrote out on Twitter, when it happened. For those of you watching and listening, I know it's been about a week since that happened, but yeah, we're still kind of real in the wrestling world. It hits close to home. So of that ilk. So let's kind of like stay on the topic of that for a second here, Nick. So, because you are a referee for us locally here in Journey Pro, also very commonly seen in St. Louis Anarchy. For those of you who make the venture up to the beautiful cornfields of Iowa, you have been going to PW Revolver, which we're going to talk about in a second here, as well as Zicky Dice's Paradise, GCW. I mean, you've been just all over the place. So I guess we want to kind of get started here, I know Jamie wants to kind of dig in some of your past, but what are some of your favorite experiences, favorite promotions? I mean, you're pretty much just in the Midwest, or have you started to venture out a little further than that? I know Zicky's is a little further, but like where are your goings on here for the next year or whatever? What are your thoughts?
So this is the year that I told myself that I was going to expand. I was going to go to other states, go to new promotions, just try to get my reach out there. I've been in the Kansas City area for quite a while, Anarchy. GCW last year was when that came up, and then I just kind of took my opportunities and ran with those. Revolver, been doing for about 2-3 years now, and I like to stick with them, of course, along with just going to bigger places. Outlandish was kind of an opportunity that popped up kind of out of nowhere, per se. I've known Ziggy for many, many years before he became Outlandish, so I reached out to him, and, that just kind of took a life on its own, too, and I'm back for part 2, and coming up on April 1st, so we'll probably talk about my WrestleMania weekend that I will be taking part in this year, finally. Supposed to do it in 2020, but
well, there were a couple things going on, Jamie, I think, in 2020 that prevented some of that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, my goal is just to get out and get to, bigger and better not better promotions, but bigger promotions in general.
Sure.
Because I was always told, if you want to make it and, make it big, you got to start going any and everywhere that you can.
Gotta do the grind, right?
If the opportunity pops up, go for it. That's all you really can do.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's dig into that. Let's talk about your WrestleMania weekend. Like, let's just hop right in there. I want to dig into, how you started and all that, but I really want to understand, so what's coming up WrestleMania weekend, because that's right around the corner.
Alrighty, guys. I just had to look back into what I had. So I'll be leaving Wednesday morning, afternoon, whatever. Get settled in. Thursday morning, I'll have Glory Pro. I'll be at Glory Pro there. And then once I'm done with Goy Pro, I'll get cleaned up, and then I'll transition over to MLW, which I'm making my debut there
Oh, nice.
on the 31st. So that'll be my first time being there, and hopefully not my last. Then I get done with that, and then Friday is when I'll be going to Outlandish 2, which is at 1 o'clock. And then I believe at 7 o'clock that night, I've got World on Lucha for GCW.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's gonna be so
that
much
one.
fun.
I got my instructions on that one. And then after that, I think I've just got. Shoot, I'm trying to remember I'm trying to remember what my Saturday show was. Shit. I got 1 second. I can tell you.
You doing Big A brunch or?
No, it's right after Mission Pro. I think it's
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. It's not Mission Pro, but it's the show after that.
Is that Bloodsport? No. Bloodsport's on
No,
Thursday.
Yeah, that's right after Journey.
Right.
I'll look into it and I'll get back to
Okay.
you on that.
Well, the GCW collective is, I mean, first of all, I remember like listening in on, I was telling Jamie this, I was watching in on Effie's Twitch. I like to hop on his Twitch Mondays when he does Monday Not Raw. And he, a couple weeks ago is when he realized that he's wrestling Minoru Suzuki at like midnight for Joey Janela's Spring Break Part 2. And then 11 hours later putting on Big Gay Brunch Dallas. It's like, oh shit. It's like the show is just that whole week is just stacked in general, and GCW is going to just balls to the wall. So, it's going to be a busy thing. What you got?
Got it. It was unsanctioned at 7:30 on Saturday.
Okay.
And then that's my last one as of now. But as they say in the world of wrestling and in life, cards subject to change. So.
Indeed.
Now I've got 5, but it could turn into 7, could turn into 8. We'll see what happens. But the main thing for me is, as long as I'm there, it's better to be there than not be there in general, because you don't know what could happen.
Yeah. Be present if somebody's not feeling up to it or whatever. It's like, hey, jump in. So, let's talk a little bit about yourself here, Nick. So, we become much accustomed to you here, but for those who may not be, a little bit about yourself, as well as because if we were to look you up on Twitter, your Twitter handle very famously is the Pink Shoed Ref or Pink Shoes Ref. I can't remember the exact terminology. I apologize. I don't have it in front of me.
Pink shoes, yeah.
Pink shoes, shoes, whatever. Pink shoes. Well, I will make sure I have that correct. If you're watching, it'll be down below. Correct. Don't listen to me. Just follow the link. But what's up with the pink shoe thing? Because I know we've seen you in pink shoes. We also see you not in pink shoes. So it's not. Is that like meant to be? Oh, we're here. We go. We're getting a visual aid here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we got brand new pink shoes.
Oh, they're not brand new. They're the OG ones. So
yeah,
great.
So I guess I could tell the story about the pink shoes.
Yeah.
So I got booked for Outlandish 1, and I'm thinking, well, he showed me that I've got a pink ref shirt, and I'm like, okay, what could I add that would be unique but not overbearingly distracting?
Mm-hmm.
So I looked up Outlandish pink shoes. I was doing my research throughout like 2 weeks before the show, and I'm like, okay, I either need to pull the trigger on this or not. And then I found those Reeboks, and I'm like, I really like these. I sent a picture to Ziggy and I said, hey, what do you think about these? He's like, those are badass. And I said, am I good to get them? He's like, absolutely. And so I ordered them less than a week before my flight was supposed to leave Atlanta, and they came in the day before my flight. Wow. I was like, okay, it's meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just said, okay, I'll take them with me, and so I put them on, and I walked up over to Ziggy and some of the other guys, and they were popping for it. So I said, okay, I think this was a good idea. And then Outlandish happens, and they pretty much gave a whole 2-3 minutes just to the shoes. So I'm like, all right, mission accomplished.
It's a thing now. It's got to be a thing now. Because I remember, because I know you didn't always, we didn't know you from having pink shoes from the Kansas Hall days of Journey Pro, but we saw you in some other places as well. I know in Revolver, I think you had pink shoes last time we were up there. You didn't?
No.
No, that's an outlandish only kind of thing.
Is it? Okay,
Like,
all right. Well, I was just thinking it's in your thing. I mean, it's kind of like a thing, right?
I just said it picked up steam, so I'm just like, well, might as well make it a thing, Just like the whole Big Dick Nick kind of became a thing by accident, so I just ran with that.
Okay, let's talk about that here because I remember, when we first started hearing that, I was just like, okay, sure. So ran with it, and it's stuck. It has stuck through the pandemic, amazingly enough. I'm partially to blame for some of that, I know, but when did that start? Do you remember exactly?
Oh yes, I will tell this. I will tell the story.
Please do.
So I'm at 3XW in Des Moines, Iowa, and the Besties are on that show too. They were working a tag match. This was like, gosh, I'm trying to think if it was like 2018 or 19. I'm trying to remember. It was a while. It was a couple years ago. So I'm changing in the back of the locker room with the Besties.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Fitchett just says, "I'm gonna get your dick over." And I said, what do you mean by that? And he's like, "I'm gonna get your dick over." I said, "I don't think you can." And so we do the show, and then next day he posts, "Nick Chinn's got a hog on him." And so I'm like, okay, he's actually gonna try to do this. And then next thing I know, Anarchy's one of their show names is Hog Wild. so Matt Fitchett got Matt Jackson to name the show
after your member.
Yes. And I don't think Jackson knew about it for a while. But it was, and I was like, did you ever ask him about that? You're out there, Matt Jackson.
So Fitchett was the originator of the Large Nick Member Society.
Yes.
Okay.
He gets all the credit for growing that, I guess.
Fantastic. Well,
nice pun.
Nice.
I love puns. You're gonna learn that.
Nice. So okay. So now we understand the Big Dick Nick. How did you get into reffing? How did that happen?
So 2008, I was just a snot-nosed junior in high school, and a buddy of mine that was on the wrestling team, they were going to some independent show in Kansas. If you know anything about Kansas independent wrestling, it's back at that time, it was pretty dry. There wasn't a whole lot going on. It was a lot of small promotions and stuff, not a whole lot going on. So I went to that show to kind of just hang out and help out. And then we helped set the ring up out in this outside, not an outside venue, but an outside parking lot, if I recall.
Okay.
And so I helped set up, and then they were just doing some training, and they're like, "You guys want to come in and try some stuff?" I was like, "Sure." So I took my first back bump. About damn near knocked myself out. Didn't take a tuck your chin, so I learned the hard way and just completely rocked my shit. But we were kind of learning the basics of that, and then they only had one referee at the show, and they're like, "You want to try to ref?" And I said, "Sure." And I'd been watching wrestling since I was 7, so I kind of knew what I was doing, but didn't know what I was doing. So it was like a kind of a beautiful disaster in a way.
Right.
It was like, I've never done heroin, but it was like taking your first dose. And I was hooked at that point. And so the rest kind of just took off from there. But that's kind of the genesis of where that started for myself.
Oh, interesting. So you were very much Leonardo DiCaprio still on the basketball team in Basketball Diaries, getting that first shot in the veins.
Mm-hmm. It was like that moment where you realize, hey, you're kind of not complete dog shit at this, you might have a career in this.
So I mean, was there ever any desire to be a wrestler, or does it just kind of happen and fell into the way just to be a ref, or did you ever like think maybe I want to wrestle instead?
So growing up as a kid, like around like the age of 7, I first saw WCW, and like my stepdad introduced me to that, and then like I grew up and was like, I'd like to be a pro wrestler someday.
Sure.
And then I kind of grew up in high school, and then like I got that first taste of reffing, and I had to make kind of a decision where I was like, if I ever want to try to make this into anything legitimate, then for myself, I'm 5'4" and I'm a little pudgy wudgy, and it's like I don't think I'd make a good wrestler as far as that goes. But I know at that time there wasn't a lot of pro wrestling referees in my area, so I'm like, if my best path to success is gonna be through reffing than it would be for wrestling.
Sure.
So that's where I made that decision early on, and that's what I tell people that I talk to that have asked me about getting into wrestling or wanting to be a ref, and I tell them make your decision early so you don't have any weird changes in your destination. So that's something I've always like for myself. It's like I play with the tools that you're given in some aspects, if that makes sense.
No, it does definitely. I mean, I think it's interesting because it's like quite often that you I think a lot of marks out there, know certain reps, right? People know who Rensburg is and Aubrey and this and that, and but for a lot of the other stuff, they may not, and but having that familiar face is very interesting because even if you don't necessarily know all the refs, like you'll see the refs pop up in different promotions, and you'll be like, oh, I know that guy. He was on the other show the other last week, or this other show, or that, whatever, and as to the ballet, back and forth, having that, a competent, good referee. So I just thought it was very interesting because we haven't really, to be honest with you, we don't really know many refs. There's you and Kennedy. That's about it.
Kennedy.
He hates that. And I love it.
That's my brother from another mother. That's for sure. Dude, you should have him on here sometime.
Absolutely should have him on here. We'll keep doing the Kennedy thing until he snaps.
Yeah, yes. until he dives on you guys.
I love the heat. I love the heat so much because, as you might not know, I'm the guy who yells Lion Tamer at every show. I'm the Lion Tamer guy.
You're that guy.
So Jeremy Wyatt and I have a little thing with that Lion Tamer. And speaking of one Jeremy Wyatt,
that's a segue, folks. That's in the biz,
Yeah, that was pretty smooth, wasn't it? I felt like it was smooth. But anyway, you and Jeremy Wyatt got a little heat at the last Journey Pro show, and he actually kicked you in your big dick. And I want to know if you have any plans for getting back at him or anything, or you just letting it go because he did his machismo thing.
Well, in my time in wrestling, 12 plus years, I've only been hit. That's probably one of the hardest clotheslines I've ever taken in my life.
It looks hard.
I really don't want to feel that again. And as when I was, in that moment, and my kids told Wyatt what they really felt about him, Barney was proud, and I'm just like, I wish you guys would have been more sympathetic, but to be fair, I would have probably told him to suck it too.
Well, yeah. Well,
was so good.
For what it's worth, I didn't have on my wrestling bingo card when Journey Pro came back that Nick Chinn's kids become an actual part of the show. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, I can tell you, I remember the first time they started chanting that. It was at a show in, I think it was in Missouri. It was like a couple months ago, and they were in the crowd, and they're big into Fortnite and video games, and there was this old trend that was going on about calling kids dog water, which is the equivalent of being bad. So they came to a show one time.
That's where it originated from. Okay.
They started chanting that, and I was on the earpiece for the match, and I could see Wyatt asking the ref, "What are they saying?" And I'm like, "They're calling you dog water. That means you're bad." And then Wyatt proceeds to scare the shit out of all those kids. And my kids were part of that, and I'm just like, yeah, that's pro wrestling in 2021.
Oh, it was so great. Well, I think it was the September show, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's when it was. I remember it was at Blip. I remember when it happened because I know because the month before we were out at all our shows are secret shows out in the ball field, and Jamie had finally started to crack Jeremy. So this has been going on for 4 years. This Lion Tamer bullshit. And sorry, Jamie, I'm throwing that out there. Okay,
it's fine. It's back from NWL. It's fine.
It's okay. Yeah. He's been going to town for this for like 4 years, and his goal has always been two things. Jamie, what are they?
It's either to get him to do a Lion Tamer or get my face and tell me to fuck off. That's it. That's all I'm going for. One or the other.
You'll get one of those for sure.
Well, we all assume we all know which one we're gonna get. So and he has been cautiously like avoiding the shit out of him. You know, occasionally throw up a bird or do this and that, whatever. And at all our shows or secret shows, Jamie just kind of do a goddamn lie, do a lie. You kept going at him, and he stops in the middle of his match. He goes, "Would you shut up about the goddamn Lion Tamer?" And Jamie, "Oh, I got him. So he was. I wish I was making this up. He was prepping and getting himself ready for the next month for the perfect opportunity to get out there so he could get his fuck you from Jeremy Wyatt, basically. And Jimmy goes to open his mouth, and it's like, "Hey, dog water!" Just like, and Jimmy's like, "Well, I can't follow that. I'm done." So
yeah,
I've got 3 stories I can think of with Wyatt when it comes to that.
Okay.
The best thing I ever saw Wyatt do to a fan at a show was at Anarchy, and the clip's out there. But this girl
was the chair
screaming in his face, drunk, and Wyatt just yanks the chair, and she goes. Every time I see it, I laugh.
Great. Have you seen that, Jamie?
Yes.
Oh my god.
He didn't even yank it. He just casually pulled it away when she wasn't looking. It was so good.
Like the amount of the smoothness of that sleight of hand was on point.
Oh.
Also, since you brought up the Lion Tamer, it reminded me of an NWL story from back like in 2017. This girl I was dating, I brought to a show one time, and not my wife, it was somebody else, but she started calling Jeremy Wyatt Aretha Franklin? Not Aretha Franklin. It was what was it, Jess? You can say I can't hear you. Elisa Frank? Yeah, she was yelling out Elisa Frank because of his colorful lions on his tights. So that picked up steam too for a couple months.
Lisa Frank, cool.
That was her one contribute to pro wrestling. And then I had one more story, but no, those were the 2 I could think out of the top of my head. Because you brought up NWL, I had a big part in that promotion too over the years. Go ahead.
So let me ask you this question, sir. Since behind the curtain a little bit, not necessarily to break kayfabe, because I definitely, we got uphold kayfabe, but how much do I annoy Jeremy Wyatt with that Lion Tamer shit?
You're not even getting under his skin. Not even cracking his skin, Jamie. Come on, man.
3.33%.
Hey, it's worth it.
Up your game. I
gotta get you 5%. 5%.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get a little more creative. That man's been around in wrestling for many years, and he's heard everything under the sun twice. So
yeah, I love him. Like, I love him. I love to hate him. He's one of the best heels in the business.
Oh, even though he like belittled my kids and kicked me in the wee and fucking clotheslined the shit out of me, there's still that respect of he's one of the best wrestlers in the Midwest by far, and now people are starting to really see how good he is as far as what he can do and what he's done. in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He is really good.
Well, proliferation of the internet, I think it's even getting better. I mean, a lot of people have said it's golden age for wrestling, right? You know, this is a great time for wrestling, but whatever adage you want to use right now. But I think you see that, and you know, I think nothing can speak more to that, to some of the things. I know Journey Pros really invested a lot in getting in there, along with Anarchy, to get the Twitch thing going. Zicky Dice doing a show that you were a big part of, actually through Twitch, you know, like with real streamers being commentators and interviews, and very interesting how it's done. So you said you're going to be back for round 2 for the Paradise 2. What are your thoughts on that? I know, I mean, I don't know if you're a big gamer or into Twitch. I know you say your kids do like Fortnite and stuff, but what about yourself? I mean, your thoughts about wrestling on Twitch as a channel of sorts.
If we have the technology to expand wrestling more in general, why not use Twitch? Now I'm familiar with Twitch. I'm just not like, I learned a lot about Twitch doing that show, and learned like, you know, I got to see some figures in that community that I really didn't know much about, but it was there. It seemed like a really cool atmosphere, and what he created doing that. Like, I believe the viewership at this point is like 500,000 people watched in the span of like the month that came out. So people would want to see wrestling, and I think he hit a nerve as far as utilizing Twitch and wrestling as one. Like, he took a gamble on it. Like, he tried something different, and I think people noticed that. And I think that this second show is going to be a much more improved version of Outlandish 1. And I think that using Twitch, it should, like, if you have the ability to do it, make it happen.
Yeah.
And Journey Pro is trying to do that as well too, which it's a process. It's going to take time to get all the kinks worked out. The production stuff still needs
sure. I mean, Jamie and I have like floated around the idea of doing something Twitch related. You know, maybe going back to our original name, which nobody got because.
What was your original name?
Okay, so for those of you listening, you might have heard the story before, but it was fantastic. So when we decided to do the podcast, we were like, okay, let's come up with a name. And I kept pulling us. I want to do like Spotfest because I'm a spot monkey. I like seeing all the crazy shit. Jamie likes technical stuff. Yeah, we like it all, but you know, I'm just like, give me like Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers. You know, every day of the week, in every ridiculous situation all the time, right? So I really wanted to use the word Spotfest. So we're floating around this. How about that? What about Total Spotfest? And then James goes, Total Spotfest Live, like Total Request Live, you know, from back at MD. You know, we're like, that's great, that's awesome. I went and I made like a knockoff logo of TRL and changed it to be a wrestling thing, and we put it out there. We weren't live, so. we lasted that for a while before we're like, okay, we gotta stop calling ourselves live because we're not live. It's you know.
Yeah, you don't want to lie to the people. Like, it's like at a restaurant and you have fresh food, but all your stuff's frozen. So
I know, but it's meant to be like TRL, you know, like. But anyway, yeah. So we whiffed on that one. But
no, don't worry. I've whiffed a few times in my career. I can tell you a story about whiffing at one time if you want to hear that.
I definitely want to hear that, please.
Okay, so I'm doing a weekend in Des Moines, and I'm booked at 3XW, and Skeletor, the other referee that's there, he's like, "Hey man, Sammy Callahan's in the crowd. You want to go meet him and stuff?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." So I've met Sammy once before. It was back when NWL was running. And I was offered to work that show, but I was working at NWL at the time, so I had to turn down that opportunity because, loyalty and, things like that. But so I get there. I go, where he's at, which is by the merch table. And so I meet him, and he's like, I'm like, something. And he's like, "Hey, man, I heard you can do a dive." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure." So I pull up the Journey Pro spot that we did the first time, and I show him. He's like, "Yeah, man. Oh, man, can you do that tomorrow?" And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Okay, you're booked. And so the biggest mistake I made is I thought about it. I thought about it all night. I
Oh.
thought about it all day. My anxiety was through the roof. It's my first time being at Revolver. And the first match I'm doing is a scramble match, which is going to involve that spot.
Oh,
All
wow.
you're thinking of is your spot the whole time.
Oh, yeah. And that was the worst thing. Here's a little secret. 9 times out of 10, I don't find out about doing crazy things till the day of the show or maybe even 10 minutes before the match.
Okay, well, probably good, right?
Yeah, which is like, okay, cool. And then sometimes shit just happens sporadically that was never talked about. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I thought about it, and I'm real nervous. And so I had the clips up somewhere. And so I try to go for the dive, and I just don't jump, and I go yeet yeet whoop, and I hit the ground. I'm just like, fucking shit. I fucked this all up. I'm just like, oh, that was my fucking career. And then I remember Eric Kane just like, get up, finish your spot. And I get up and I hear everybody going crazy. So I'm like, okay, this must be like Make-A-Wish because they're very forgiving. And so we finished things, business per usual. But I just went to the back and I'm just like, oh man, I fucked up. And Sammy's like, and hell yeah, man, that was cool. That's gonna go viral. I was like, am I booked for next month? Am I booked for next show? He's like, yeah, man, you're booked.
That's awesome.
And then like, I've learned in that aspect is, one, don't overthink shit, and two, even if you fuck up, things seem to work out regardless.
Everybody in this industry, every performer in this industry, whether it is a wrestler or ref or in front of this, they've all someone's botched something to some extent at some point. So
except for Mr. Perfect.
Well,
That's fair.
of course. I mean, why how could he?
I mean, the only thing he did wrong was lots of steroids.
I mean, I can say about the 80s in general. But
Steroids and cocaine.
I can tell you I've done neither one
Rises
of
to
those.
the top.
Well, we don't want to divert blood from your most important member, so that's probably a smart thing. So
Yeah. My wife on that one.
So now you become. So would you say, I don't want to say mainstay, but I know that you've been doing many Revolver shows. You did the last one we went to. You're doing one's coming up here in a few weeks as well. Mm-hmm. Last time you actually pulled a choke slam on Andrew Everett.
Yeah, if you would have told me 12 years ago I was going to choke slam a 7'4" giant in a ring in front of a sold out show, I'd have been like, what? I was like, first of all, are you the Terminator? Like, did you come back from the future just to tell me that? Or is this like a rib or a...
Yeah, what drugs are you taking, and can I get some of them?
But how high and where do I find this?
Mm-hmm.
But that came up sporadically too, and that was like, and I remember Everett's like, you think it'll get a good reaction? I said, maybe.
Oh, it popped big.
Oh, the pop was so great.
Pop was fantastic,
maybe.
Man.
And I know, and I usually don't tell my wife when I do spots just so she can be surprised. And I work my kids all the time, so they didn't know about they didn't know anything about the Wyatt situation, and they didn't know I was doing that, but they seemed like they were pretty over the moon about it.
Hell yeah.
And for them, they know Santa Claus isn't real. They know like the Easter Bunny's a jabroni, but they still believe when they go to wrestling shows that it's all real, and that they like to go on that journey, unintended, when it comes to going to shows and talking smack and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I remember I did a show in Oklahoma where I got to be Nick Patrick and turn heel, which I've always wanted to do.
Oh, heel Nick Chinn. Fuck yes.
And so I got a stunner in the match, and then post match I get beat up again. But then the baby face or the face was asking my wife, which she was in on it, about if I should get beat up again. So she gives the thumbs up, and then I get killed again. But then my kids are asking my wife if we're getting a divorce because of this. And then they asked me because I got paid in money. Like the bad guy gave me the heel gave me a bunch of money. And the first thing my older kid asked me, Ashton's like, "Where's the money at?" I said, "I lost it." And then like they were so like heartbroken about it. And then
Oh my God.
And then we worked it back in a way where they understood. Like I told them that we weren't getting a divorce and everything was going to work out fine. But I learned my lesson that.
So something. Hey, wrestling was my last. My last buy. Post Santa, all that stuff. I was definitely It was definitely into middle school before I bought into the fantasy. Or excuse me, saw past the fantasy. So
and for them it's their escapism. So I try to just let them. They'll figure it out at some point.
Oh yeah.
Or one of their asshole friends at school will ruin it for them. But until now, they can at least enjoy it while it's still unknown to them.
There'll be that moment where you're like, you have to run and go pick something up, and you stop by it, and Moonshine's there and comes out, and starts talking to you, and gives you 5, and then it's like, wait a minute, hold on, Dad, that's the. Okay, guy. They'll figure it out. No worries.
But for now, I'm gonna let them enjoy the innocence of it for the most part.
That's cool.
But man, and for me, it's like when I was a kid, I would have loved to go to all these shows like they get to now. They're fucking spoiled a little bit.
No shit.
When I was a kid, I didn't get to go to a lot of. There was no independence when I was like 7, 8 years old. Like I didn't get to go to these small shows. I was lucky to go to the expo, like when they came to Topeka or something. Maybe if I was lucky, I got to go to Kansas City. But I like wrestling was harder to watch back then because you had to either watch it live on TV, or you had to tape trade, or you just had to have friends. And now those guys, all they got to do is just YouTube it, and bam, they have all this wrestling, or they can get on all these other apps and watch it. Like they have the Grubhub of wrestling.
Pretty much.
Here I'm starving as a kid, just getting lucky to watch it on to stay up past my bedtime to watch Goldberg wrestle. Like
no shit. I remember Jamie and I are a few years older than you, so I remember when we were growing up wrestling, and that was in late 80s, early 90s, right? So that's the one of my first experience with of course there was WrestleMania and Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, all that jazz, but that Saturday afternoon spotlight where we'd get that the NWA promotions on TBS at 1 in the afternoon or whatever for half an hour, and first time seeing Ric Flair cut a promo, I'm like, what is this gloriousness? Because you're right, it's things were different back then. You didn't have indie promotions. You had to be in a spot, or, I grew up in Central Illinois. There's nobody's coming to Decatur, Illinois to do a wrestling show. So
right.
I'm actually bringing my 7-year-old daughter to her first ever show next month. I'm taking her to DWF.
Good.
That's a good one to enter at,
It's family friendly there. I don't feel like I can take her to a Journey Pro show because it's that's Dad's playground. That's where Dad gets to be an asshole.
I've had to have the talk about when you hear bad words at wrestling shows, they don't get repeated at school, because I'm gonna get a call from the principal, and it's gonna be like, well, yeah. That's on me.
True. It's tough. I remember Audrey did go with us, not this last time, but the time right before the pandemic started, when AEW had the Go Home for Revolution at Independence.
Was Jessica.
Oh, that was Jessica. This is Audrey. This is your youngest one. Okay, all right.
My youngest, her very first show ever.
But Jessica, his second to youngest one. This is interesting. This is a great little story. So we were in line there in the merch table and getting stuff, and I got a baseball shirt and got the pen and all the stuff and this and that. And they want to get Orange Cassidy, and she goes, "Oh, do I get to say S word?" Because she saw the cowboy shirts, and she goes, "Do I get to say the S word here?" And Jamie's like, "Oh fuck, what did I get myself into?"
It's yes, you could. Yeah, just don't say it at school.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
be that to your friends or in school. Otherwise, you get the pass. You get the pass.
And definitely don't say my daddy taught me how to say that, because that's even worse.
Right.
Well, let's take a little hard pivot here. I don't know. Like we've interviewed quite a few other wrestlers, and they have outside of wrestling hobbies. Like Heidi Howitzer is a big gamer. JDX is a big movie guy. Loves going to the movies. So outside of wrestling, what does Nick Chinn like to do?
Oh well, I'm also a gamer too. I've got my Xbox 360, or not
There you
360. I got an Xbox Series X. My wife, for our anniversary,
Ooh.
our wedding anniversary is coming up in roughly under less than 10 days, roughly.
Oh, nice.
So she bought me a new OLED TV, actually.
Ooh.
Oh, look
nice.
at you! You got the setup.
Yep, I got there. Let me flip that around. That's my setup. It's nothing. I want to add more to it, but I've got my nice little gaming setup. And the wife.
Oh, there's the wife. Hey, wife.
There's the wife. Hi.
So
I like
actually
I like gaming.
I'm surprised got you a Series X. Like, where the hell do you? Because I'm looking and you can't find those sons of bitches, man.
I'm a PS5 guy.
Here's the. I don't mind PS5. My kiddo's got my old PS4 Pro, and everyone is playing on my old Xbox One. So the great story behind that one was I just went to Walmart at 6 a.m. You here for an Xbox? I said, yep. We got 3 left. I said, okay, cool. Now you have 2.
Just hey, got it.
That's old school. That's how I used to do my game hunting in my younger years. Of just go there at either midnight or go there early in the morning and get lucky.
That's not
So
a bad.
what kind of games you into? What kind of games
So-
are you into right
So
now?
currently I'm playing. I'm on a Rocket League kick right now because my kiddos play that. So I'm playing Rocket League. I'm currently replaying Mass Effect 2.
Oh,
I'm playing on the remastered right now, which is 2's my all-time favorite, and then playing Dying Light 2 currently. I play a lot of shooters. I play a lot of different things in general. Right now, there's nothing else coming out that I'm excited for. I might be borrowing my kid's PS4 when the new God of War comes out, but
yeah, you are.
I do hate because for a hot minute there it felt like we got away from exclusivity, right? You know, like the end of 360 and all. It was like, okay, we're gonna get away from this, and then it's like, not so much. Now it's just like, oh, because it's like, that's the part that's like, personally, I know I don't game as much as Jamie or you really, or a lot of people, I more casual, so. I can't justify getting 2 next gen consoles. So but I want to play God of War and Halo Infinite, and
this is crazy. I know you can't see him on the podcast, but this is crazy.
Oh,
This is my queen.
Kratos, that's fantastic. So
Yeah,
just
I'm a big
look.
God of War guy as well.
Oh,
Like I have God of War. I've played all the God of Wars. I think the last one is actually one of the better ones that they've done, other than maybe God of War 2 or God of War
Oh, no, I
3.
love the newest one. That's why I named my doggo after.
So-
he's like, why'd you wake me up?
So have you played? Are you gonna play Elden Ring at all?
Oh, I'm thinking about it. I'm honestly, I'm. Here I am. All right, bye, Kratos. I thought you wanted to start the podcast. I have played Dark Souls in the past, and I am fucking terrible at Dark Souls games.
Souls games.
With my time since I work third shift,
Oh yeah.
my gaming hours fluctuate. Like during the week, I'm lucky to get a good hour of gaming in. That's good for me. But I feel like with Elder Ring, I have to kind of commit to that, and like
It's a lot of commitment.
I want to play it. I want to like it. I might give it a shot, but I don't know. Sometimes like when I'm relaxing, I don't know. Like I don't really get enjoyment about getting my shit pushed in excessively, but
Oh.
I might give it a chance again. I might give it one more shot. I got Sekiro on my system currently, and I've
Ooh,
Okay.
That's a fun game. That's
and,
a fun game.
man, I've gotten tally-whapped so many times. I'm like, I like the challenge. Don't get me wrong, but after a while, you get beat down enough where it's just like, I don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah, so like there's the different types of games. There's the casual games, and then like what I like to consider Elden Ring is a grinder game. Like you have to commit time and energy to just level up so you can face somebody. Like so you like the very first boss of that game, I no shit. He killed me 50 times and I rage quit twice before I'm like, you know what? I probably need to go level up.
Are you talking about like the big boss Godric or like the Tree
Godric
Sentinel?
grafted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Godric the grafted.
He's
He's
the first demigod. Yeah.
so bad. And now I'm fine because I'm like a level 50 now, and I'm like doing some other things. I just got caught by a whole bunch of freaking rats, and they got like over 15,000 runes from me. I'm a little pissed, but whatever.
You know, and I'm personally, I'm more of a platformer. I actually really like retro platformers too, because growing up, I never had NES or Genesis or SNES because, you know, I couldn't afford it. We had Atari 2600, then I went to friends' houses to play video games, right? Went to their houses because, you know, my family couldn't afford it growing up. It wasn't until my first actually console was a PS2 that I bought for myself in college. So I like going back and playing all the shit that I didn't get a chance to own when I was young because I just didn't have the money as a kid, right? You know, so I kind of dig that. And the last open, and Jamie keeps trying, and I probably will get it because he keeps bothering the shit out of me to get Elden Ring. But I've been watching Adam Cole play it on Twitch, and it's beautiful. But my God, the time commitment! Like the last open world I played was Red Dead 2.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I love that, but I only got about 3/4 of the way through because eventually I'm just like, all right, I gotta step away. I gotta do something. You know, I'm not that I can play the same game for, you know, 30 hours a week for the next 4 months, right? You know, I gotta switch it up.
So go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say my gaming philosophy is like the Baskin Robbins approach. I gotta try all the flavors, you know. Like I bounce around with some different games.
Same.
Plus, it keeps me not being bored. Now, if I'm really committed to a game like God of War, Last of Us 2, things like that, then I'll commit my time to it. But rarely do I stick to one game. I like to have like a rotation of sorts. But I was going to ask you, just because I'm curious, what's one of your all-time favorite games from both of you, out of curiosity? And I'll answer.
I was going to ask you the same thing.
I got to go first.
All right. I will give you my top 3. Number 1, Final Fantasy VII. Hands down, can't fuck with that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect in every possible way. My number 2 was Last of Us. I just felt like that was just a beautiful game.
The first one, or
the first one, not the second one.
Okay, that was the correct answer.
Yeah,
because usually I'm like, all right, cool.
So some people are like, "Oh, the Last of Us 2." Like, no, the first one was just epic, and the story was amazing. And then this is my dark horse compared to everybody. Silent Hill 2 is my top third because I love scary games too. I'm a horror nerd. You know, but it's one of those things like it just grabbed me, and like the story, like I'm a big story guy. Like I love those types of games. First person shooters are always fun and all that, but I like a good story.
Good story. Cool. I guess mine. So okay, I'm gonna give 3 now because I got to match Jamie, do what he did. So I'm gonna go with Star Wars Force Unleashed, the first one. Love that. It was like the first video game that was canonical per George Lucas. It's now retconned, but you know, it was like officially by, you know, like George Lucas for the first time in like forever. So I loved it. I thought it was great. Dead Island 1. I've always liked zombie games. I don't know. The first Dead Island, I played the living piss out of. I just loved it to death, you know.
Which character did you play as? I'm just curious. Who was your character?
I don't even remember the names of the characters, to be honest with you there, because it's been so long. I have it over in my thing there. I haven't, but I don't get rid of stuff either, video game wise, which is a bad habit, I know. But I don't remember which character. I think because I played it so much. I think I played multiple times through. But that was one. After I kind of gotten away and didn't really game very much, that kind of got me back into gaming more as an adult, right? Dead Island 1, I love the piss out of it. But probably my all-time favorite game is Mega Man 2. To this day.
Okay.
To this day, I'll play Mega Man 2 all day, every day. I love the full Mega Man series, and they always seem to get it good on the second try, right?
Right.
Always, the first one's okay, but the second one's good. And the same thing when they got to the X series. First one's cool, but the X2, it just,
It's different. It's different.
What about you?
All right, since everybody's doing top threes, I better be like the cool kids. And no particular order, but I'll start off with the most recent God of War. Really love that game.
It's beautiful.
I would have potentially gotten a PS5 over an Xbox X, but I still like the Xbox more. But no, that was by far good story. They made the gameplay, like they changed the gameplay from the original roots, and it was really good. And I always love throwing the axe excessively. I'm gonna throw in Def Jam Fight for New York.
Oh, very good.
One of my favorite fighter wrestling games.
I love that game.
I sadly got rid of my copy because I wasn't playing anymore, but I kind of regret that now. But I'll rebuy it someday. I'll catch it again, and then I'm gonna throw in probably my number one. Resident Evil 4 is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, such a good game.
Okay, yeah.
That's in my top 5.
I've played that. I've played pretty much every version of that game up to this point. So it's just good story. Changed the gameplay up. You can suplex priest zombie things. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. There's not a lot of perfect games out there, but I would argue this is one of them for sure. And I did hear, and I would say honorable mention, I would say The Last of Us or Tall Tales Walking Dead first game, as far as a story goes in general.
Ooh, that's a good one too, yeah.
I did play Last of Us 2. Love the gameplay, tremendous graphics, but that story can just, that's
it can eat a dick, right? That story is terrible.
We're not gonna give spoilers out there for if you haven't played it, go play it. It's worth the time. But it seems that there's only really two trains of thought that I've seen from people on that. It's either it's the greatest thing they've ever experienced in a video game just because of it, or it's like motherfuck that story to hell. That's the only two opinions I've ever heard. Like never anywhere in between.
There is a correct one. The correct one is you don't fucking kill Joel within the first 20 minutes of a goddamn motherfucking game. Just saying. Sorry.
Also,
I feel better now.
I was mad about that. But I was more mad about the ending because if they would have given me the choice to do what I wanted it to do, I would have been okay with it all. But it doesn't give you that choice, and I was very upset, not happy with it. And I went to my local game store that I go to usually, and I had a conversation with the guy I talked to there all the time. He's like, "I really liked it," and I said, "I really didn't like the story," and then we argued about it, and I'm like, "You're wrong."
So what would have you done at the end then? What would have you done?
Oh, I would have killed Abby. 100% killed Abby.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The thing for me was, I'm like, you didn't give me that choice, and the whole premise was to get revenge, and I didn't get my revenge, and I felt kind of bamboozled on that. And they tried so hard for you to like Abby, and I'm like, I don't want to like this person, but the flaming shotgun is fire.
Yeah. The weaponry was better in the second one, I would agree, but no, the story of the first one was just perfect.
Yeah, it's like the second one was a good game. It just was like Vince Russo wrote the story, and that's where it kind of lost me.
Whoa, Russo, look out here! Yeah, I mean he's not wrong,
Hey, the Howlett's got some history with Russo.
Yeah, bro, what's a Howlett, bro?
Oh my god.
Speaking of the Howlets and Hoodie, I know that they've already talked about it. They've already done some announcements, but the Journey Pro Wrestling Academy is starting up, or at least it's taking its
Well,
course.
we're going to go into that there because I know Jimmy had made mention of this on one of our recent episodes. I don't remember which one it was, but I recently Jimmy made mention of this here because you saw that they're doing even wrestling training. Of course, they're doing it's a wrestling school. Hi, JJ obviously just got off of work and his brain is fried. Referee training. There we go. So do you know if you or Kennedy are going to like kind of come in and help him out with a workshop or do anything with that, or is that TBD or what's up?
So good. I was about to kind of bring that up a little bit.
We're masters of the segue over here. Come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna start calling you you're gonna start Total Segway Spot Fest.
We need a segue now.
So
I'll Photoshop it. Don't worry.
The answer to that question the best I can. I've talked to Journey Pro Management. Depending on the interest of people that want to be trained to be referees, me and Adam are definitely on board with doing it. It's just kind of figuring out like the logistics behind it.
Sure.
But if it does work out, you could definitely see, us training referees for sure. And I know if that's the case, I've got a lot. I got some knowledge. I'm not saying I know everything, but I think I've been doing this for quite a while. I've worked TV. Like I know I'm capable of doing. I think I'm pretty competent as a ref, and I think I've got some information that I could share with the next generation or the next up and coming referees. And my goal personally for myself is in wrestling, I want to leave it better than when I got into it. So if I can help bring in like the future refs of the Midwest or at least in Kansas, that's a win right there in itself.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying as of right now, hopefully we will be training refs. It just depends. Like I said, if people are interested enough to want to do it, then I think it'll be a better option to do. So
there's
hopefully in the coming months we'll see.
Well, keep an eye out on Journey Pro's socials, all the stuff. So journeyprokc.com, follow them on Twitter, all the things there, announcements if there are anything coming along. And here's the thing: if you are interested in becoming a referee, you're like, you know what, that sounds like a fun way to spend my weekends or something like that. Let Journey Pro know so we can get a big Dick Nick class going on. So
the stiffest of classes.
You
gotta be hard,
This is the most veiny class we've ever had. No, okay, all right. So
Team Vein Kane.
Jamie, I know we kind of did a little video game fun. Do you want to pull an Impossible game out?
Yeah.
We could do Desert Island.
Oh, I got
you
two.
got one.
I got two, and they're of the same ilk. So,
Let's go. So
we're just gonna go.
So before you. Okay, so I don't know. I know you say you've kind of caught some of our stuff before. Have you ever seen an Impossible game that we done, Nick?
You'll have to refresh my memory.
Simple enough. So we're going to pick something that is of cultural interest, whatever, and give you, a Sophie's choice. So impossible choices, it's like you're going to be like, God, that's so tough to do. That's the whole point here.
Like, would you rather kind of in a way, like that kind of game?
Kind of.
Go ahead, Jamie.
So let me give you the first one. This is a warm up for the next one, which I know is really going to bake your noodle. So we're just going to play this game. It's kind of like FMK, or Kiss, Marry, Kill, Fuck, Marry, Kill. You've probably heard that, right? Played that game before? Well, this one's called Feud, Faction, or Fire. So you actually have to choose to either feud with them, faction with them, so you're buddy, or obviously fire. So we're going to do it with some of the people that you've had some run-ins that we've personally seen in the ring. So this is the easiest one. So obviously, Mr. Wyatt.
You can't not have Jeremy Wyatt on that list. Yep.
You and the Howletts have a little history. So there's that. And Mr. Durden, Jake Durden. I've seen you have a little run-in with him in the past as well.
Okay. All right. So Ooh, that's gonna be that's already kind of tricky. Okay,
Impossible game.
All right, so I think me and Wyatt would probably keep feuding for sure.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Good answer.
I think I'm gonna be teaming up with Durden because that just seems like a comedy pair made in heaven. The scrawny little ref and the big old Durden. And then sorry, the Hallets are getting fired. I hate to do that to him like that.
Oh.
You're the second person that's fired him.
Only because, like I said, it was the path least resistance, I guess. I'm sure I'll hear about it.
I think they'll actually love to hear that because sometimes they need to get refueled in their hatred. So
come by the school and get tallied.
I know, right?
Yeah.
What do you be like Nick cometh? Well, you and Walter are both fired to Howlets, so.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, what was your second game you got there?
Okay, so it's basically of the same ilk. So what we're doing is, I'm going to give you three choices. So it's kind of like the desert island. So one video game you can play every single day for the rest of your life. Then another video game you can only play once a year. As you say, once of the year playthrough. And then the third one is completely Thanos out of existence. It's gone forever.
You're going full.
Never ever gonna be able to ever play it ever again.
So what? For those of you listening, if you've not heard us do this game before, the Desert Island game is that you are stuck on a desert island. Doesn't matter how you got there. You could be there with other people, whatever. But you are in charge of the entertainment, so you get to do those choices, like Jamie said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, set it up.
Pick one of those, or I might answer all three just for shits and grins.
You have to answer all
three.
So give us one game that you get that you and everybody are able to fuck everybody that you get to play every single day for the rest of eternity. You can play whatever you want as much as you want. One game that you get to play one day a year. Only one day a year do you get to play this second game. And a third game that, for whatever reason, is just going to be completely erased from existence.
And then this is what we're going to do for each one of us, because I want all of us to answer.
Yeah, we'll play this one.
We're going to do it based off of our top 3 video games of all time.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay.
All right. So I'll do God of War for once a year. I'll play. I'm playing Resident Evil 4 every day. And then I got an XCOM Death Jam because I've already done that. So
yep. You've done it in real life, yeah.
Plus, it's probably for the best anyway, because after Fight for New York, the Def Jam games that came after that, the one that came after that was complete dog water.
They were just
it
bad.
It had to be Old Yellard anyway. So
all right, so I'm going to. Well, first of all, I'm going to Thanos Dead Island out of the way. If I'm on a desert island, I don't, that might not be the best game. So we're going to Thanos that one out of the way. I'll play Mega Man every day because I could. I love Mega Man so much. And then once a year, we'll play some Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I'm very similar to Nick here. My number one, I will play once a year because Final Fantasy VII is a big ass game and it's gonna take a long time to play, but you can only do it in doses. You can't just keep playing that game. So that's a one timer. Now this is where it gets difficult for me because Last of Us and then Silent Hill 2 are both amazing games in their own right. So I think for the sake of video games, I will play Silent Hill every single day and Thanos Last of Us. That's a tough one because Silent Hill was so damn good. That story, the second one.
That is tough. That's a tough one. Well, that's why we call it impossible games. So, all right. Well, Nick, we want thank you for your time here. We'll let you get prepared. I know you got to get going to work here for too much longer. So before we do, you've already made mention at the beginning, top of the show about your upcoming goings on for WrestleMania week. But we're going to enter Plug City. Let you kind of plug away whatever you want. Give them your socials. Give them anything upcoming, whatever it may be. Doesn't matter. Please feel free. Plug away.
If you want, you can follow me on Twitter at ChinnRef, hashtag pink shoes on Twitter. I don't really do much of the other stuff. My Facebook's personal, but that's the main thing you can follow me on. You definitely, if you're in Texas for Dallas Mania Week, you see me on a show, feel free to come say hi. I'm pretty approachable, I think. Unless I'm working unless it's journey shows, and I'm usually running around doing a bunch of other stuff, but I try to be available. Right now I've got the next 2 weeks off to kind of relax because once the end of March hits, it's going to be crazy.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, April's shaping up to be busy too. We got DWF, got Anarchy at the end of April, heading into May. Revolver's coming up,
2-night Journey Pro.
Yep, 2 nights of Journey Pro. I'm going to be hitting the ground pretty hard at the end of March, so it's going to be nice to have this downtime to have it. Check those promotions out. Shout out to, GCW. Shout out to Anarchy, which I don't think I see you guys at Anarchy very much.
We don't usually make it across the state, honestly, because
we're expanding this year.
Well, and the thing is because it's Friday nights, and we work day jobs, so it's like we'd have to it's hard to kind of get that from Kansas City, drive across.
I'll make a proposition to you. If you guys can get that Friday off, you guys can travel with me up to the show. If you guys are interested in that, I'll leave the invitation open.
Yeah,
we will definitely let you know about that.
What day is that again?
March. It's not March. It's May.
Oh, 8th?
April.
April. No.
Yeah. March, sorry, but we'll figure this out offline here. So, okay. All right. Well, all right. So definitely, if you're around in and around the Midwest here, your odds are you're gonna never see Nick Chinn. So definitely follow Anarchy, Journey Pro, Pro Wrestling Revolver, Revolver. I'm so amped, obviously, for the next Revolver show.
I am too.
It's gonna be so good. Are you doing this match? You don't know yet.
I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. After my last death match last show, I'm going to politely ask for that.
Well, and for those of you who are listening, not watching, JJ got a new Ruby Soho shirt, a Ruby, just for good measure. But yes, I'm so happy.
Yeah, you got cut. I saw that. Like you started bleeding from the arm.
Was that your first death match or no?
I'll tell that story real quick.
One more story before we head out.
Yes.
So that was my second death match I've ever done, and the first one was the match they had before. Which I was semi not prepared because I kind of got opted into. My wife was not approving of that second match. Giving me the bird on that one.
You bled a lot.
The first one went good. I got lucky and scaved out of that one. The second match they had was the one that he's referring to, where I got my arms all cut up. I forgot to grab long sleeves, and somebody offered me to wear theirs, and now I'm going to get the mean look. I didn't want to ruin their long sleeve, and now in hindsight, I wish I probably would have borrowed their long sleeve shirt. And, shout out to my GCW family that do death matches a lot. Like, it's still new to me. I'm still learning a lot from it, but I got a new respect for it for sure, but that's the one thing I forgot is I should have wore long sleeves.
Hey.
Had everything else figured out, but
this is how we learn, Nick. It's all good.
Yes, pulling glass out of my arms for 2 weeks was probably the lesson that was enough for me to learn.
I just don't get how those guys do it, man. I don't get how those guys do it. Like, it is a train wreck, and it's like one of those things like you don't want to say that you like it because it is a train wreck, but you just can't stop watching it.
It's an acquired taste, but I have a found respect for the guys that do it on a daily basis. And for me, it was a challenge, and I was like, I'm up for it. Plus, I was the only one that was willing to do it, so I was like, all right.
Well, you kind of got to, yeah, most definitely. Oh, right. I find that there is definitely in my opinion, there's two types of death matches out there, and what we get at Revolver, what you get at GCW, is it's what you expect. You do have that kind of more seedy underground death match that does exist out there in the pro wrestling world, where it's almost like it's almost too masochistic, whatever, but it's still held in. I feel personally, that what you see at Revolver or GCW, some of these other ones out there, is more of that art of death match. It's still got that element to it, but it's just got the turned up to 13. So.
Well, yeah, definitely after that last match. Oh shit.
Well, they're doing like a barbed wire jobber. I don't even remember what they called it. It's something crazy.
Spiderweb death match.
Spiderweb death match, which I couldn't. What the fuck is it? I looked it up. Oh, all barbed wire all over the place. Let's go.
Yeah. Great. Gonna learn today.
Yep. So, all right. Well, thank you, Nick. Like I said, links for everything down below. Give Nick a follow on Twitter. Give him a holler. And give him a shout next time you see him at your local show. So we will be seeing you soon. Jamie, do you have anything else before you want to take us home?
No, thanks. And again, rest in peace, the bad guy.
Hey, yo.
Boom. All right. You didn't do our typical ending there. A little different, James.
Well, I thought usually you say take us home.
Well, then I said before you take us home. All right, well, take us home. We're just gonna fuck this up. Keep going.
All right, you want to take some? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down Total Spotfest, I have 6 enormous words for you. Big Dick Nick. Big Dick Nick.
See you next time, guys.
Peace.